All right, welcome back to another match review. This one is kind of different from what I usually do. It's not a small gun; it's a big gun. I haven't shot a full size gun in like a season in competition since 2019 when I did SSP, my first year shooting competition. And I'm still not certain that I'm going to do it. I'm kind of looking at between this and ESP and CCP and production division or limited minor in USPSA. Probably do a little bit of both limited minor and production USPSA, but CCP is significantly different than ESP. But anyway, the gun you saw there, this is the SIG P320 AXG. So this one is pretty decked out for me. I've had shot 320s for years, as you guys know, but yeah, this is the culmination or close to it. I've got another one that's built up similar with a different slide, but close to the culmination of what I think, for me anyway, the best 320 is going to be. So hang tight. We'll get you a close-up look at this thing, and then we'll show you some more stages and come back with the pros and cons at the end.
Yeah.
All right, here we are at the top of the gun. 320 AXG, as you can see, fits within the box quite well. This box is huge compared to the other boxes I use. I don't have a straight edge, but even with the Go Guns gas pedal, it's not too wide. The magazine well fitting in there just fine. There's an empty mag in there, so it does fit in with an empty magazine. The weight on this thing, these are the AXG grips, lock grips. And with those grips on there, we're sitting at about 38.3 ounces. With the empty mag in, we're 41.8. So almost 42 ounces. 42 ounces. Almost 42 ounces. Weight limit for ESP division is 43. So we're right there or right under it. So let's take a look at the last couple of stages, and we'll come back with some pros and cons.
If you are
Okay, so those are the stages. It was a good match at Paul Bunyan this weekend. A lot of movement in those stages. We're not some of the IDPA shooters I think weren't used to moving that much, but that's all right. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I want to get into a few of the pros and cons of the SIG 320 AXG. But before I do that, I just kind of want to give you the build notes, because this is something that isn't like, that's one of the things I like about the 320 is that it's not this gun didn't start out this way. It was like I think I bought a Legion. I bought a bunch of 320s, but bought an X5 Legion and a couple of different 320s, and then it just kind of morphs into, as you figure out what you want your competition gun to be, or maybe a duty gun or a carry gun. It just kind of, that's what's so great about it. You can make it into what you want. It's not like other manufacturers that are kind of shoehorning you into, like, this is what we think the best competition gun or the best duty gun is, and you should just like it. It's so customizable to you. So build notes on this. The slide is the SIG P320 Pro Cut slide, the 4.7 inch. The frame bought separately is the 320 AXG frame. Magwell is the stock SIG AXG magwell. I had one from Armory Craft, but it had like it was like recessed right here, and when I would be reloading, it would kind of catch on me, so I didn't like that very well. So I went with the stock one. Go Guns gas pedal on my side of the gun for lefty. They finally started making that, which is awesome. Lock palm swell grips. I just feel like they take up a little bit more of that dead space in my hand, and there's right here behind my knuckles it's, the grip is pushing out into my hand, and I really like that. More surface tension on the gun, I think, gets you a better grip, hold on to it a little better. On the inside, Gray Guns trigger, I sent the whole thing to them, and they sent me back an awesome trigger. I didn't like the reset as well, and that's not a really big thing, but ended up putting a half-pound heavier trigger return spring in there from Armory Craft. I really liked that. That combination seems to be the best I can get it. I felt better ones out there, but maybe that's for another video. Gray Guns Fat Guide rod for 1911 springs. I want to say that's a 15-pound spring. It could be the 14, but I'm pretty sure it's a 15. And then riding on top of that is the Dawson Precision Competition 320 sights with a fiber optic front and a blacked out rear. I go with the red fiber. I know some people like the green fiber, but I like the red because eventually when I shoot CO, it'll be, you're shooting a red dot then. But I guess you could shoot green dot now. That's coming around. Green dots are becoming a thing. Okay, so some of the pros for this thing is I think it balances better than the X5 Legion. In particular with if you take the magwell off. So the magwell off of the X5 Legion is super nose heavy, in my opinion. And it just doesn't feel as good in my hand. I guess I'm not smart enough or a good enough shooter to tell you the mechanics of that while you're shooting, but it feels better in my hand, and I think it helps me shoot a little better and take the recoil a little better. But anyway, even with the magwells, both of them having magwells, I feel like this is balanced a little better. The grips being a little bit heavier on the AXG, you could move that weight a little bit backward into your hand, and I think that just feels better and shoots flatter for me. Moving into that, this gun's pretty flat shooting. With the combination of the weight in the back, the balance, and the gas pedal, it just turns out a pretty flat shooting gun. We're not shooting, rocket rounds out of this or major power factor rounds. We're shooting 125 power factor, so it's not heavy to begin with, but it's pretty flat shooting with all of that going on. Touched on this a little already, but the FCU it's easy to work on. So compared to a Glock, because everybody compares them to Glocks, and everybody's like, oh, the 320 is just more difficult to work on. And I'm sympathetic to that idea a little bit, but I've watched a video on YouTube and took it completely apart and put in whatever parts I wanted. So I don't feel like it's difficult to work on. I think it's actually easy to work on. And like I said, you can just make your gun into what you want, whereas you can make your Glock into what you want, but you're pretty shoehorned into a few things, where I feel like there's just so much more options with something like a 320. Another benefit to this is, before the magazine ban went into effect here in Washington, so we're a 10-round state now, which is stupid and annoying, but that's the law of the land. But before that went into effect, because there was like a time where they wrote the bill, signed the bill, or passed the bill, signed the bill, where it was like, well, get your stuff now. And so I ended up buying like 20 Legion mags, because I didn't want to buy 20 regular magazines and then have to buy 20 base pads. And so the Legion mags, if you're out there in a free state, you can buy the Legion mags, and they're I can't remember who made the base pad. It might be a Dawson base pad, but the base pads are good. You don't have to change anything. Sig mags are expensive either way. So I think the regular 320 mags are like $45, and the Legion mags are $50. So, but the base pad's going to cost you more than $5. So I think that's a pro of this thing, is that if you're buying Legion mags, you're good to go. You don't have to mess around too much with building out mags. As for IDPA, if you're shooting USPSA, you got to get the big stick mags, and that's part of the game. Especially if you're like shooting CO where you get 141. You're gonna want the base pads and bring that out. So since this gun is so made for Joey, I don't have a lot of cons to tell you, because the cons I've perceived, I've worked out of the gun pretty much. One that I can't really work out of it is that because it's a 320 and the way that it's a SIG in general, the bore axis is a little high. There's a couple of different frames that will get it a little lower or let you dig your hand into the grip tang a little bit better. The Icarus Precision is one of them, but and I liked that, but you couldn't shoot it in anything but ESP, and you'd have to shoot it in limited minor because of the way they made the magwell like extension on the frame, which is unique and cool, but you couldn't do much for weight. You couldn't add or change the grips, the grip panels, which I kind of liked better on the AXG. So that's the way we went with that. But yeah, the grip or the bore axis is just a little high, and I don't know. I don't notice it. Like I said, it's still pretty flat shooting with all the stuff you can do to them. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then the other the only other con I can come up with is that even though it's a pro that the mags, the Legion mags are good to go out of the box. Just mags for SIGs are stupid expensive in general. For a box metal, I don't know why mags are so expensive now. Maybe there's probably like new technology that you guys know about that I don't know. Just metal twisted around a spring, but seems super expensive to me. But maybe there's a really good reason why they're that expensive now. Sort of the last thing I wanted to touch on was that just recently, SHOT Show 2023, SIG came out with the AXG Legion, which I haven't got a good look at because I haven't seen them out in stores yet. But it's got it's a full size slide, but it's the 3.9-inch barrel with a comped, their new, I don't know what to call it, integrally comped slide. But that's legal in IDPA, and I don't know that it would help a whole lot, but it's a really cool idea. And if I can get a hold of one of those slides, I might just give it a try because I think it's cool. But this is the reason I gave you the build list, is because this isn't something that you can just go and buy. You have to put it together and be willing to spend a ton of money because those things are all expensive. But the AXG Legion, you might be able to, if you're going to just use it in IDPA, you could get a second slide if you wanted to use it in like production, or if you wanted something for CO, but CO and USPSA. But I think you could buy the 320 AXG Legion and swap the grip panels over and be good to go. They might need to work on the trigger a little bit, but it's a Legion. It's going to be custom shop or whatever SIG custom shop. So the Legion trigger before was pretty good, so I don't think you'd need to do a whole lot to it, and you'd be good to go. So if that's something that you are looking at, if you're looking at a 320 AXG, I think that they're, as far as 320s go, I think they're the way to go. The TXG are good, but if you're like me and you want a little bit more in the palm, then your options are limited. So yeah, if you like videos like this, check out our playlist. There's a few more. Most of them are little guns because I've been a little gun guy up until now. Yeah, well, 2019 was the last time I shot one, like for a whole season. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. I'm fiddling with the idea of doing CCP for the whole year because I really, really like that chopped Legion, but it has some of the detractors that this one doesn't. And then last thing, please go to our website, www.dz-214.com, where you can donate to the charities we support. We really appreciate your help with that. We've been successful. Last year in November, we ran the match for Operation Second Chance, and we're looking to do that, more things like that. But we appreciate your help throughout the year. And we'll see you on the next one.